Just a moment, a moment. Remember, not a professional. But let me give you something to rock out to for a moment. Just vibe out. Getting a little prep time, letting y'all run on in. I'm sorry I didn't give a better notice than I did. What's up, Caden? Caden Ross. I didn't give a good notice yet again, so I'm gonna let it ride out just for a moment. Let some people catch it. Hey, Dolly. Christina. Thank you, Christina. It's a very old friend of mine there. The one and only. Todd. Oh, what's up, Todd? Todd, yes, Miss Chronicles, I'm so glad you're here. Brooke for Bama, Rachel, Samples, thank you for keeping me humble, sincerely. And Marie, take it easy. Everybody, welcome. Miss Chronicles, I need to make you a mod. Everybody, Miss Chronicles is an individual that has a couple of channels and absolutely deserves the mod ship for her continued support and true crime podcasts. Yeah, we gonna be we kicking it off. Hey, Shamrock, sweetheart, Jillian, Lewis, Barry. I wanted to do the whole shout out thing. All right, I think I'm ready, man. I still feel like I didn't give enough time. Y'all know, fun fact, I was a DJ for 10 years. Think I'd have some better beats, so hey guys, welcome to the Progressive Patriot Hour. I don't know, I just made that up. I did enjoy engaging with the chat. I should probably do that more often. I get a lot of feedback saying that I should. Bear with me, guys. Oh, I should center myself. Very zen. Center thyself. You know what? I don't care if my bookshelf is in a state of wreck. I need to. Nope, that doesn't help. This way? Okay, yeah. See, I'm so professional here. Let's see. Don't freeze. Did that help? That did not help. That's the opposite of helping. This is real time. This is that live. This is what y'all come here for. Okay. Just shooting off the hip, I need to be very clear. I'm going to be sharing a lot of things that are not going to put me in a flattering light. I mean, that's not the point of sharing things from your past that help, I guess, shape the person I am today. I did decide talking about addiction is something that can unify a lot of us, okay, from any background, from around the world. This is not a simply USA issue, okay, this is global. Big Pharma is something that, I guess, outside of diligently wanting to understand how we can collectively even think we could tackle like something like human trafficking, the biggest monster right next to it, if not bigger, and you know what? These two things are not far apart at all. Big Pharma, drugging victims of trafficking, keeping kids, the vulnerable, women, boys, men, everybody. If you want to keep somebody within a trafficking situation where they're being prostituted out, typically they're being put on some sort of cocktail of drugs. So to me, these two things are not that far apart. They actually might even be symptoms of the same disease. And this time I will try my best to check out everybody, okay, while I'm doing what I'm doing. So I did write some point-by-points, but I'll tell you, to be honest, out of everything I've ever done on this channel, man, I gotta get centered up in this bitch, man. Sorry. This is by far the easiest. Now, while it's gonna be hard for me to share some of the things that I'm going to share, I was my worst self. I was the worst possible human being that I could have been when I was an addict. I'm still an addict. I know I am. The way I can go and turn to drinking and I'm constantly like, I need to stop entirely or keep it under control more. I know that I probably drink too much sometimes, absolutely. So it's still very much a part of me. However, I'm glad that I got off of the things that nearly led to my death a dozen times. And I got some... I'll probably be taking some pictures off the wall. There is way too many people that I've lost because of opiates, addiction in general, but specifically opiates. That's going to be rough to talk about. Specific people and friends that I spent so many years with, partying with. I mean, this is where I really think, all of us can continue to come together. Whatever it is that divides us in the grand scheme doesn't matter when we can all collectively look at something, address it as a problem, or at least knowing that it's a topic that needs some more light shed on it. I really do believe that sincerely we could do something special. And slowly but surely through this journey, we're figuring that out together. The information, all of you know who you are, sending me emails. Don't worry, the next live, I'm coming out swinging. Swimming would be nice, but I'll try to swing while I do that as well, with some of the info I have on some very public people. You could probably guess. So, where to start? Start at the beginning, I guess, huh? I am now, as of my recent birthday... What's the point in being, I gotta be transparent. Yes, I have turned 38 years old 2 days ago. What's today? Yeah, 2 days ago. All right, 38. When I was 18 years old, that's when things, like right as I hit that age. I mean, I know when I was 16, 17, I was always smoking. And let me put this pretense out there. Everything I say is alleged and for entertainment purposes only, okay? YouTube and law enforcement, every story I share, every little anecdote is merely to entertain my family. Okay, so also I'm sure there was some what's it called when it's too late to prosecute? Yeah, so starting at the beginning, here we go. I'm going to dig deep for this one. Age 18, I was already introduced far too early to benzodiazepines, which many of you are probably familiar with as Xanax, Klonopin, Valium, what have you. A psychiatrist put me on those when I was 17 years old. There was this weird thing that happened to me, that happened to my brain when I was partying and going to raves. Yeah, I'm the guy that used to go to raves and hated it, but I had an ex-fiance at the time. My then fiance, it was just her style, and I, by proxy, had to go and be a part of all this. And I just remember one night that I allegedly took a bean, and just, I didn't know what an anxiety attack was. So when all this craziness started happening, I didn't know how to define it, quantify it. I didn't understand what the hell was happening to me. I knew this. I was amongst friends that I saw every damn night for a couple of years at this point. We all had the same job. I was a DJ, loving life. I was the happiest person ever. And I just remember feeling the need, the compulsion, to go sit in a fucking corner in the dark and not be able to see my friends. And I just remember, like, my eyes were out of my control. They kept on just darting left to right, and I couldn't stop it, and I felt like I was going crazy. But I was so confused, and the confusion manifested into pain, and I didn't understand, and it's something else when you can't explain something that's happening to you in the moment, and you want it to stop. So my friends, thankfully it was dark because I didn't want to be seen, asking me if I was okay because I was very oddly quiet, and I played it off, but I recognized this. In the morning when I had woken up, that is the day that I recognized my life had changed as I'd known it. My years of being whatever the fuck the term normal means this day and age, I don't believe in normal. That's a fucking construct. It's invented and it's bullshit. Everybody's normal is different. Therefore, the term normal for anybody more than one person, it just doesn't apply. Everybody, even though we're not all fucking snowflakes, but we're just, no two people are the same. They can be similar, but I think I've made my point. Normal doesn't fly. But what I believed to be normal, what I believed my life was, just broke. Something broke in my brain. And I remember I had dropped out of high school at this time, too many fights, and I had to float around different high schools, probably about 4 to 5 different ones. And I went to my old one that I was meant to graduate with, and the strangest thing happened. Anxiety manifested again when I went to see the people I grew up with here in Florida. And I just recognized it's really hard to explain what these symptoms were like. When I was making eye contact with my best friends, they were so happy to see me, I noticed that I would get some sort of sharp tension in my neck, and I honestly felt like my fucking head was gonna just kind of swivel, not fall off, but I honestly could not, for whatever reason, suddenly people looking into my eyes freaked me the fuck out, and I got such a complex about it. This anxiety issue lasted for some years. So, fast forward, I start self-medicating. Enter benzos like Xanax and opiates. But the opiate thing, I'm gonna do something that's it's not a sexy look, but I want to be transparent and honest. And I did have lung surgery at the age of roughly, I think, 23, 24. And it was a New Year's Eve party that I was supposed to go to. I remember I was doing construction. I was doing, flooring. And I just couldn't breathe for a very long time. And how I got it, let's just say there was a team there in hazmat suits spraying stuff. And I'm sitting there with Treadmore padding, which is it's the heaviest padding rolled up, which is like almost the entirety of a room on my shoulder. And I'm schlepping and breathing in whatever the hell is in the air. And so I end up getting this advanced form of pneumonia called epaima, and my lungs were filled with fluid almost to 100%. So when I get to the hospital, I was taken to the hospital at some point, and I was at a party that night. So fast forward past being at work, and I'm trying not to jump around. I know I need to slow down, explain things. So at the party, I just recognized I'm having trouble breathing. I'm doing a keg stand. I can't fucking breathe. And I forget how I ended up getting with my father that took me to the hospital. The doctor said if I did not go and get under the knife, I was going to die that night. And check me out. Here's my mind state at the time. I said, but doctor, it's New Year's and there's a party still going on. Can I go back out and party? Before I do the surgery? The life-saving surgery? Suffice it to say, he was not pleased with that question. I think he almost just about laughed at me. My father just kind of shook his head, and I was taken to the ICU. Emergency surgery was done, and I'm going to show you the scar. Let me actually see what I'm about to show so you guys see. This was something, they had to rip or crack my rib cage open. I used to have pictures of this on an old hard drive that's now completely gone. But they had to open up my rib cage and stick 2 tubes into my right lung. And that lasted in the ICU for about 6 days and 12 days, no, 2 weeks or so in the hospital. Let me show you the scar. Mind you, they put glue. They didn't want to staple it shut. For whatever reason, they decided to put glue for this wound to naturally close like that. And here's what the scar looks like today. Yes, sometimes I'll feel like sciatic nerve damage, like a bolt of lightning that hits, and then it passes. It would sometimes be so debilitating that I'd have to totally crumble and just take a moment. Sometimes it happens, but I've gotten better about it. Here we go. I'm sorry, today I'm not wearing my 6-pack abs, okay? Today, unfortunately, I decided to wear the keg. Let me see. There we go. Okay. Right there. There we go. So that's a sexy-looking scar, and that son of a bitch right there, well, I guess the hospital taking care of me at that time, it took the surgeon to save my life, and I had about 4 specialists. The infection wouldn't go away, so it stayed for a long time, but they did absolutely constantly, nonstop, feed me opiates. Talking morphine, Percocets, Vicodin, and all that, right? And that's every day, multiple times a day throughout my hospital stay. And at some point, the time came finally for me to go and recover from home. This was the beginning of the end for me. So it goes like this. And see, remember this? I think one of my first videos, I was like, I've been chewing on these since I was 6 years old. Let's get rid of that. Bad habits and all that. So for 3 months while I was bedridden, literally, I could only just lay there and do so much because I was fucking split in half. And this nurse, this very nice, well-to-do nurse, would come over about 3 times a day and feed me copious amounts of painkillers. I think it was Percocets at the time, Vicodin, who knows. Nothing too incredibly strong yet at that point. And so let's just say for 3 months, my life was that playing Call of Duty online and getting drugged up and recovering and recovering. And finally, fast forward 3 months after every day, multiple feedings, this is how the system was designed at this time. She just stopped visiting and left me with, I think, 1 prescription. So to me, now I take full accountability for everything shitty I've ever done. When I was under the influence and thereafter, whatever the case, she just stops. And when I run out, what's a guy going to do when he lives in the trailer parks and he's fucking dope fiending, getting the cold sweats, he's feeling like death? I, of course, turned to the fucking streets. The good old trailer parks that I lived in became my new hospital. And, finding properly dosed out, accessible painkillers wasn't really the specialty of the trailer parks that I lived in at the time. So introducing things like blues, allegedly, which are also known as, and they're gone, they're off the market, Roxicets. That was my drug of choice for quite some time. It is something that I began snorting, smoking, never injected. I was on blues for maybe fucking about 10 years. So within this 10-year span, and let me take a moment, and I will be looking at all the feedback here, but I am going to share some of the most disturbing things that I can recall that I did or that happened to me or that I witnessed. I got into this weird regimen when I was solo. When I was partying, I was a different animal. I was an artificial person. There was nothing genuine or real about that dopamine shooting up to my brain, telling me that I was the fucking life of the party. I was living off of money I did in construction before that, about 3 years, spending thousands of dollars on these blue fucking pills. Literally, the dealer at the time would just pour them by the handful, and I'd let them drop. I mean, we're talking $20 each, and I wouldn't give a shit. I was fiending. I would just go through cold sweats. I would live off of however many there were, stay in bed. When I ran out, like, I'd be all out partying as much as possible. But when I ran out and I knew that was happening, I knew I'd get dope sick, I'd make my desperate calls, and I would just wait. And it's still haunting. It's crazy how I can still remember the exact ringtone that I relied on to be my lifeline. I couldn't get up off the bed. I couldn't do anything. I wouldn't talk to anybody. I would just lay down in darkness from day to night until I knew my person re-upped. And then I would fucking go, and I didn't have a car at this time. I'd take my bike. I'd ride it to the back. There's this huge brick wall. And remember, I have a newfound wound here. I would throw that bike over this brick wall that's way taller than myself and climb up that bitch and over it. There wasn't anything to help me get up to that motherfucker. Through sheer fucking willpower of needing to get high to feel like I needed to survive, that's exactly what I did. So let's see, things that I can remember that I am ashamed of. I can tell you this. Nothing haunts me more in terms of being ashamed of my actions when I started pawning my mother's jewelry. There was some fights that I would get into when I was all hopped up on painkillers. Here, when I was in this stupid gang in that area in the trailer parks, I had to brand myself, and they didn't know I was completely numb. I don't know if you can see this scar right here, but that is the result of a smiley face. If you're not familiar, you take a lighter into another lighter, you light the steel of the top, and when it is finally burning, seething hot, this is when I was fucking like 19, dude, and it's still there like that. Looks like a bullet hole. I let it just kind of, I stuck it to my arm, and it melted inside to my arm and stuck there. Like, I let it go, and it was just there, sticking out. And I waited until it went kind of cold, and then pulled it out. And as you can see, I mean, there's protrusion. I wonder if you can see just how bad that was. Oh, and this stupid tattoo was something I got. At this time, I was in the darkest recesses of my mind. All I could think about was skulls and death and doom and gloom. See, there's another skull. There's one that I drew, which is actually in memory to somebody I lost to drugs, which is why. There's booze and pills. I wish I had better stories. I want better tattoos now. I have a whole new life. But these I carry as memories. There was one day that I was so fucking out of it, day drinking, taking opiates, allegedly, for entertainment purposes. Talking a movie here. I would just have this thing. It was the most I remember my ex-fiance used to get disturbed around me when we'd watch like really disturbing horror movies, because I just get into a weird frame of mind. I fully admit, like, I was a dangerous, unpredictable, creepy guy that had huge jealousy problems. It didn't help that her and I ended up cheating on each other nonstop to get back at each other. I once ripped a fence out of the ground out of sheer jealousy. But what was it? I was day drinking Skull vodka. And I don't know what compelled me. I was such a different person. I'm watching the origin story of Hannibal Lecter, which is where you have a young Hannibal and you get to see him finally snap and kill people, and I'm watching that. And, I'm hopped up on benzos and opiates, and I don't feel whatever, like, normal people or whatever that term's supposed to mean. I didn't feel like people did because I was on all these things. So sometimes when I'd watch these bloody things in front of me, I'd decide, just because I was in such a dark mindset, I can't explain some of my own actions. I went to the mirror, completely drunk. I remember I decided to go outside and throw a huge glass bottle into my neighbor's driveway behind their vehicle, which was an accident. I didn't mean to throw it right there. And then I went and looked in the mirror, took my carpet knife, because remember I did flooring, and decided to give myself a Joker smiley face. No bullshit. I forget which side. Usually you can see it if, I don't know that the quality's good enough, but I remember that the cut was, it scared me, but also I was fascinated just watching myself. This is what a drug-addled mind goes to. You go to the deepest, darkest depths within human capacity. And I just was so impressed by this extra split. I wonder which side. I really can't truly remember. But I do remember the split, and I had just like extra lip, and just watching the blood pour down. Speaking of masochism, this one's not quite the same, but I know you can see the crack in one of my eyebrows. Where is that? Right, I want to say it's right here, or I remember the fall. So what I'm trying to remember is which side of my head cracked open on top of concrete when me and hello everybody if you're just joining, I'm you're going to hear things that are just personal and disturbing, but real and sincere. If that's what I'm going to be preaching, I got to live it. So one day I went and met up with my boy, we'll call him T, at the mall. We had this thing, he'd drive to the mall, we'd be drinking Jägermeister. We made this terrible concoction called the Bum, which is a giant gulp cup from 7-Eleven of 151 rum, and pour an entire drop an entire Budweiser in there, and we'd gulp that shit. and we'd go to this very popular mall, this very large mall. Like, it's one of the top 5 largest malls in the country here in Florida. And for whatever reason, I guess him and I, while wasted, would try to, I don't know, hit on chicks, like when mall ratting was a thing, but it was broad daylight. And I remember my buddy T had 2 lovely ladies in front of him, and he was by a pillar, and I'm like, well, I gotta get in on this. So I walk up, I mosey, and I'm out of it, and I attempted to hold on to this pole or pillar, and that didn't work out too successfully because I ended up holding it, and I went like around it and dropped down, and the first thing to make contact with the concrete was my fucking skull. And I remember just immediately blood was everywhere, and I blacked out here and there, and I just have a random assortment of memories waking up in and out of consciousness. I was in my friend's T's bathtub at his home where the parents were, and his mother was treating me. Blood is everywhere. It looked like a murder had been committed, and I just would come to be laughing and just in and out, in and out. Man, there's a part of me that's like, be careful what you share and say, but there's also this absolutely stubborn part of me that wants to share all. And I have told this one story before, but I just don't know. Like, right now, my channel is being reviewed by YouTube, and what I would be explaining is really fucked up. Here, let me spell it out in the safest way I can. Me and my buddy T, who is like my partner in crime, quite literally, were concocting this stupid fucking alleged plot to do something terrible to another human being. We were gonna pick up this, like, anybody that we could and do something really, really bad. I had a sharp object, if you can. I'm speaking low. I don't want to be shouting this out or anything, even though I'm YouTube live. Full transparency, right? This is probably the worst thing I ever thought of doing. So me and T had worked it out that I was in the back seat. There's this dude that needed a ride, and it was just crazy that we actually found a fucking hitchhiker. I don't think I've ever seen a hitchhiker before or since thereafter. But we let him into our vehicle, and oh my God, this... I mean, we were young. To me, when I remember him, he's just a kid. I think he was like 21 years old. I'm so glad, like, it didn't go the way we had planned, but I was waiting on a signal to do something very, very stupid that would have ended everybody's life in that moment. You know what I mean? Like, I would be behind bars for the rest of my life. Thankfully, the signal that was planned was not given. And we actually gave the kid money, and he safely went home on his way. This is how dark and crazy my mind was. And yeah, I was at this time. Even it's so crazy, this duality I got to learn to live with. I could go be the life of the party and you know, be on my A game, go DJ at my job there that I had for 10 years, being a manager and a DJ. And then I'd go into these darkest of moods and just watch, you know, horror movies nonstop. It was this weird just cycle. I don't know what was happening to me in hindsight. I mean, I know now. I was a shell of what I was supposed to be. I was taken over by drugs completely, allegedly, but completely. What's another one? I mean, I could tell you guys where I OD'd. Allegedly, of course, right? Is that annoying yet? So here's a testament to my survivability. And yes, there will be people that maybe get mad and think I'm lying. I'm not lying. I'm not going to go and fucking prove it with phone calls and, you know, introduce you to the people that were there. And I've told this story before. I had made the decision that I was going to end myself. And I sat in my chair in my trailer. I had a born-again Christian friend there that was coming over trying to get me to believe in God and all that and be saved. And I had another buddy there that we'll just call also T. Name is also similar. And I had spiked brass knuckles on, a bottle of liquor in each hand, very strong stuff. And so I'm drinking, and I'm taking benzos by the handfuls, okay? I bought 1,000. Allegedly, I bought 1,000 Xanax, bars, fries, sticks, whatever. And I saw to it that I was going to finish them sons of bitches. Well, thankfully, I only got through 60. Maybe it was 40, but I just remember 60. Who the fuck was keeping count? But I was going. That was supposed to be it for me. And I remember as this stuff starting to finally hit me, I had a tolerance like a motherfucker. As it's hitting, and I'm kind of not being fully conscious anymore. Things are starting to get dim. And the born-again person that was only coming around to get me to go to his church and show that he saved my soul, he dipped out. But my other friend T that was there, I remember him saying, I can't watch this anymore, and he got up, shot up, and at some point my father had arrived from work, and he went and thankfully saved my life, told my father, and I only remember fractions, bits and pieces, that just, it's like remembering flashes. I remember hearing my father screaming, "What have you done?" I remember seeing the pills getting flushed down the toilet, and in my stupid state, and I was probably dying, I remember saying, "Fuck, man, I paid $1,000 for those," in my brain. And throughout that point, believe it or not, I did not go to the hospital. Still incredible that I did not go to the hospital. I don't remember vomiting or any of this. I remember my fiance being above me with that beautiful smile of hers. I can say what I want, about how toxic she was and how crazy she made me, but we were in love. Twisted love. Toxic love, but we were in love. And I just remember she was over my bedside, and I'd just wake up, shoot up from my bed and say, "I'm going to marry this girl," and I'd fucking pass right back out. This passing out and staying conscious worked out for me for about 2 solid weeks, where I was somehow able to go to my fucking job. This company is gone. So it was called Kaboom's Amusement and Party Center. A lot of people that live in this area knew it. It was the spot to hang out when you were younger. Skating rink, arcade, laser tag, and all that. I was the main DJ and manager. And I was also in charge of, we'd have full camps, busloads of kids come into the rink, and I would have to instruct them, or here's my radio voice, my DJ voice. "Alrighty, guys, everybody out there in Christina's party. That's Christina's party. Please head on back to your party room now. It is time for pizza." That's essentially all I did on that microphone, and say shout-outs and, try to play red light, green light. I'd go out there and, have fun. Somehow, I was able to go to work, do that job, but also complete blackouts. I just remember coming to here and there. I remember this lovely girl that I had worked with that is still a friend of mine to this day, and I told her, and I remember, and we have spoken about it since, I just snapped to and said I'm gonna hurt you or something, something worse, if you catch my drift. Don't go too dark, but yeah, maybe to the point of saying, "I'm going to end you." And I remember her response to be okay, and yeah, and then blackout again, trying to remember all the brief flashes of consciousness. I remember being in the car with my father, and I'm sprawled out, fucked up, in the passenger side, and we're driving up to the front side of my old trailer park, where all the kids and the families were waiting for the school buses. For whatever reason, I felt compelled to lower the window and scream at the top of my lungs till I broke my voice. I just screamed, "Fuck you!" in the highest possible pitch. And I remember my father just saying, "Eli," and blackout again, gone. I remember waking up in the middle of being in a fight. I remember a little bit, and yeah, 2 weeks that went on until I was able to kind of function normally again. It's amazing that I survived that. Wow, I don't know if this is cathartic or humiliating. Can I take a moment to look at the chat? I think it's just going to get darker. Hello, Miss Chronicles, Queen Survivor. David. Oh, I'm 38 years old for the record. I know, I got a baby face. Yeah, Xanax and alcohol, that almost did kill me. Not let alone opiates, but at that time I did not mix them. DC Irish. Oh, Thor's in the house. That's what's up. Lewis, holy shit. Forging. All right, let's see. I'm a first responder. The amount of people I have seen cold too long gone to be revived as a result of opiates, benzos, or opiates and booze literally cannot be counted. Yep. Hey, what's up, Dusty? Oh, I've been meaning... Oh, I'm not done sharing. Not at all. I wanted to add some more moderators. Oh, and please, this is not a job. Don't feel like indebted to do shit. Just look out for spamming bullshit. Let me check some things real quick, and then I want to tell a couple of stories, and I might fucking shed a tear with one of the ones I'm gonna explain. And today at work, after I made the decision to do this, there was, when you're an addict, you can spot another one. It's stronger than being a Highlander, an immortal. In the show Highlanders, you can sense another immortal. There can be only one. This beautiful girl came in today. She had to be about, I don't know, maybe 24 years old is my guess. Her arms were fully tatted. She was beautiful. I could tell she was fucking toasted on what I would assume to be opiates. She had that kind of nodding and the slow blink and the tone of voice, and I was just compelled, thinking about all of these things that I'm sharing now. I just wanted to just fucking reach out as she was buying alcohol. I just wanted to say, hey, I see you. I know what you're going through. This can change. It could all change, and I can help you. I wanted to do that, but when I'm in the fucking uniform and I'm on the clock, I can't be making those kinds of moves or saying that kind of shit for myself. And it hurt my heart, man, to see that. I remember, speaking of nodding out, going to a restaurant with an old best friend of mine, and literally my head dropped inside of miso soup when we were at a Japanese restaurant eating sushi, and being so fucking humiliated, seeing everybody in the restaurant watch me nodding out. I couldn't get out of there. I couldn't get out of there any quicker than I did. I got the F out of there. I remember the look of my best friend at the time, like, what the fuck, man? What was another thing? There's the story about a couple of friends, and then there was something that I was trying to recall, and bear with me, guys, and I'm trying to pace myself a little bit. Let me see. I talked about my cracked skull, the day drinking, watching the horror movies, not too much about the gang affiliations. It's not wise to share all of that there. Oh, okay, here's something really stupid to share. So I had to go and visit my my amazing uncle family, and my uncle, my aunt, my cousins in New Jersey. And this was also my hometown in New York. I went there. And I also, through LiveJournal, which is a very old social media thing, but it was more substantial. It wasn't like hollow like Facebook and Twitter where you have these fake lives. LiveJournal, you got to share your thoughts. And I'm a writer before I'm a speaker, believe it or not. I even have memorized 2 poems that I had written back then, or spoken word poetry, where I explain kind of the pain of my addiction. I don't know if I'm ready to be sharing fucking spoken word poetry for the masses here. But I had organized to meet up with these 2 lovely girls, these 2 lovely women. I'm not going to share their names. I still know them too. Well, one of them. I don't know if the other one's alive, but I know, thank goodness, this one got out of the life. I went there and... allegedly, remember, for entertainment purposes, and I am purposely not speaking loud. I went and met up with them, and they convinced me to try something that looks like this. So I did just that. I traveled where I was supposed to meet my family, spend time with them, and reconnect, and instead... I did that, and I was staying under their roof. Fucking mess I was. So I met up with these two lovely ladies, and they did it for me. And I remember the instantaneous, like, whoa, yep, there it is. But in that same moment of the rush or euphoria, I remember saying, nah, man, not as good as Roxy's, not as good as my blues, which I was at the time smoking and snorting. On tinfoil, you melt it, and while it melts, you kind of chase it, I guess, hence chasing the dragon. Use like a pen without anything in the middle, and you follow the smoke and huff and puff, and that shit burned. That smoke burned, man. And that's, my lungs were trying to recover at the time, so I wasn't doing myself any favors. Let me show you a couple of pictures, guys, since we're getting all personal here. Hold on, I'm sorry, the live chat. Okay, there we go. And welcome again. Yeah, Candace, my heart. Guys, not to put Candace on the spot, but just show Candace a little love, support. She did lose somebody yesterday to the exact concept or topic that we're talking about. Thank goodness fentanyl didn't exist back then, because I would not be here. I'm going to bring two pictures here to show you some people that were a part of my life. One of them that I wanted to marry this girl. Hold on. So, we're getting into the sharing, right? Well, screw that. We're beyond sharing. You guys are absolutely family now. So, not that long ago, these two pictures in my hand are friends I've lost to addiction, opiates. I'm not going to share his name. That's my boy. His name, we called him Rabid. He was a intelligent, phenomenal rapper and multi-talented. He left 2 kids behind. And I, not that long ago, went to his funeral. This lovely woman right here that helped me get into recovery. Her and I, before we got into recovery, we were also 2 peas in a pod, using and abusing our bodies. Man. I think, what was it? A few weeks before I had learned of her passing, and she also leaves behind 2 kids, one of which is like 15 years old. I had to stop myself from going crazy and finding an old best buddy from my clique back in the day who ran out on her and left 2 lady friends of mine behind with kids. She, her first name is Lindsay. Her and I spent 2 hours laying on the back of my car looking at the stars. She never really moved. She was dealing with a lot of trauma. She was so healthy. She had just completed falling in love with herself again through recovery and the program. And the trauma she had to deal with, which is I can't imagine. She walked in on her the love of her life, gone, expired, or expiring, and she tried to resuscitate him. She accidentally, that's what I believe. I believe she accidentally did over OD. I'm speaking low, and I apologize. I need to speak up, but these are things that I'm like not accustomed to speaking so loosely about. She had 1 relapse, and that's all it takes. That was the last funeral I went to, which wasn't that long ago. When we spent that, what was it? Just a couple of weeks before her funeral, we spent that time talking about our hopes and our dreams and how amazing everything was and what our plans were for the future. Not possibly together. I'm not going to, embellish. I was secretly always in love with her. Only when we were fools and addicts did we ever have a relationship, but that's not a real relationship. Nothing is really real when you're going through this kind of shit. And that, That just always hurts to remember. There was somebody, one of my suppliers way back when. This is also going a little further back to my my 20s, which was when I was my worst version of myself. My homeboy and supplier, he'd help me out sometimes when I was sick. He decided to take his firearm, and he had twin girls. They were very, very young. Don't worry, it doesn't get where you think it may, but he went into some corner and ended his everything, his future, his past, his name, his life. And I'm fully convinced that was because he felt trapped in the life. You know, he was in a gang, and it was very serious. You know, this wasn't no bullshit. And he was also using his product, and I think he was in debt to some bad guys. Oh man, I just remembered something absolutely terrible and horrifying. I wish I hadn't remembered, but I do. I can't use names here because I don't know, the statute of limitations here, but two scumbags that I used to hang out with. They had nicknames. One was Bones. The other one, I can't use his fucking name. We'll call him Scrawny, okay? So Bones and Scrawny were users and dealers and in a gang as well, and they were in the opposite trailer park that was known for being the hottest spot. The heat was always there. That's where you went to when you needed to get hooked up or fucked over or whatever the case. But I remember I decided to hang out with them, hoping I'd, get some free blues or something, and the Scrawny and Bones had come up with this idea. They had a shit ton, like fucking a huge bunch of bags full of not real painkillers. They looked like blues, but they were not. So we found out, and I'll tell you how. There was this kid, this guy. He was, he could have been 19 years old. He came there in his pickup truck. He was completely fucked up. He was already drunk, and he really wanted to party. And leave it to Bones and Scrawny. They showed him all this shit, and I knew he was in danger the moment he took out a stack of cash. And he was just flashing it, man. You don't do that. I don't remember this kid's name, man. But I was like, I feel partially responsible. But so he buys all these fake fucking blues from our, Tweedledummer. And him and I, whatever his name was, I don't remember. I had his phone number. I gave him my number. We were going to hang out after the fact, whatever, and finish the blues. Well, I remember at some point I decided that I didn't want to be there anymore. The vibes were getting weird. Firearms were out and being played with, and Bones and Scrawny always made me uncomfortable. They had a reputation. They were criminals. They were ex-convicts. I don't judge them for that, but they were known for being people that would fuck you over in a heartbeat. So they sold this kid a bunch of fake dope, and I told him where I lived, and I gave him my number, and I said, just knock on my window. That's what I always would tell people back then. So fast forward to, I think it was 5 o'clock in the morning, and he did knock on my window for, it felt like hours, but I don't know what my gut was, what my compulsion, what my thought was, what my mentality was. I didn't want to answer. Because he was wild. He was wild. He was out of it. He was out of his mind. And I felt like he was unpredictably dangerous. But he did a bunch of these fake fucking things. I think they ended up being some form of stomach treatment. I don't know if they were laxative, whatever the case. But I learned that this kid, whose name I can't even remember, ended up ODing on all that fake shit and the real shit, and what would have happened if I would have, what would have happened if I would have answered him knocking, and if I would have went outside and said, yeah, come on in, man, let's hang out, could I have saved his life? He's knocking, man. I remember hearing him like yelling my name too. I think I remember learning he went back, and he went back to Bones and Scrawny, who watched him OD. They watched him. They didn't do anything about it. Yeah, so he died in the hospital. I don't remember his name. There's I don't know if I need to tell you guys, like, friends of mine who were lost due to murder. That's not what this is about. It's just all a part of the things that happened at this very dark time in my life. I've lost maybe 4 friends to being, murdered, and I can't keep count of suicides and ODs. They're almost one and the same to me. I've lost count. I've seen one open casket, and I lost the feeling in my legs, and my knees buckled, and I fell to the ground. So back to the case in point. Yeah, so 10 years, man. That was kind of my life. 10 fucking years. I tried to go to rehab. This I wanted to say because of my transparency clause here. I was, at the age of 19, I was arrested in that same trailer park I was just describing. The officer had, and it was after I had just copped, and the officer pulls up, and it's 3 o'clock in the morning, and I was walking, because it was all the trailer parks that were so close and intertwined, just separated by a canal. I was so close to home, but this guy stops me. He said, "You fit the description, this, that, and the other," and I had a backpack. I always carried a backpack with me. He said, "If you decline the search, I will just call the canine unit, so you just got to accept it." I didn't know my rights. I was 18 or 19, I do not recall. So I let them search me. So I caught, in that one night, 1 felony, 3 misdemeanors. I was taken to jail. Here's the charges. Possession of alcohol, underage drinking, minor. Was I a minor? Yeah, I wasn't 21. I had alcohol in the book bag. I had a couple of baggies of greenery, so I got charged with an intent to distribute. So that's 2, 3. And they found like 5 or so different painkillers. That was the felony right there. So I remember the officer calling me a stupid fuck, and I was arrested, taken to the county jail, and I'll never forget the introduction when the clerk or whatever, "Oh, what'd you bring this one in for?" And the cop, that mustached motherfucker, said, another one being, I can say, it's my old neighborhood, I don't live there anymore, Dumb and Davy. Which made me think, did I have to consent? So that put me on man, I really skipped around here, but that put me on a path where drug court was a brand new program at that time, and I was qualified because that was my first ever real trouble with the law. It was the first time I got arrested, and the last. So instead, I did like a night and a half in jail. I remember going through crazy withdrawals, and I was cooped up with a guy going through crack withdrawals and another guy that seemed like a very nice dude that was intent. He was there because he was profiled. He was arrested because he was black and being harassed, and I listened to his story while hiding that I was on fire inside. And being in jail, the food is terrible. I remember when we're all lined up on the wall being searched, and they pull your clothes wherever they need to go. And like somebody said some dumb shit while the guard is searching me, so my hands are up on the wall. So he decides to make a fucking point about how he doesn't want to be there. He's like, "You think I want to do this right now? You think I want to be here?" And he's pointing at me, and I'm just sitting there waiting for this shit to finish, and I'm being made a fucking example of. Remember all the big dudes? There was one phone, there was in a huge line, and it was the biggest dude that wanted to take that phone, got to stay on that phone without anybody doing shit about it. That was the pecking order. And there was just the hugest fucking guy in front of me, and I was getting pissed, and I was going through withdrawals. I needed to call my father. It was like 6 o'clock in the morning. I needed to call my father, and I was getting angry, but what the hell could I do? Get my ass killed in there. I had to wait and suffer and wait until finally I called, and I'll never forget that night I had gotten into an argument with my father. I said that because I was going to make a point. Always listen to your fucking parents, no matter what, because he was right. My dad that night said, "You're going to get arrested." He never said that before. You're going to end up in jail. And well, guess what? That night specifically, when he chose to say that, that's exactly what happened. So that call he got at work at 6 o'clock in the morning, 7 o'clock in the morning, was, "Dad, I'm in jail." And I remember him, like, I heard him swallow and just say, "Okay." That's where all my college money went, by the way. Bonding my ass out. My stupid fucking ass. Let me check the chat briefly. Oh, and, what's up, Dennis Richards? Limits Girl? Safe Havens True Crime. Thank you for joining the family. I got a whole mission here, but I guess it's story time. So drug court meant that I got to choose that, where I pled no contest, and all I had to do, and I did. There was nothing dishonest about the process. I had to attend outpatient classes. I went to this program called BARC, where I was there with a bunch of other criminals that needed to get drugs out of their system, and I got to see a lot of fights. I remember waking up and there's two people fighting on top of me. One of them fighting had one leg, and his leg fell off during the fight. So for 1 year, I was completely sober. I wasn't on any medication at all, and I was a wild man. But I also wrote some of the most beautiful poetry I've ever written at that time. And I had a fight club fight with a friend of mine who is, he's a military veteran now, and he was still a badass back then. We fought for a full hour, I think, maybe 45 minutes. An hour, that's crazy. But I just remember it was the longest fight I've ever had, and I was so proud because he gave up because I think just the stamina ran out. We beat the fuck out of each other, and that's just what we wanted to do. I had a headbutting contest with my old buddy T. Literally, full force skulls meeting head to head until he decided to give up. I was just on a path of destruction, and that's all that mattered to me, was to see to it that I would destroy myself. Before all this, though, Green, I saw somebody mention, wow, holy shit, hello, Bumblebee. That's an old face and an old friend right there. Welcome back. 420 is where I should have stayed. I was so zen and chill and at peace with the world. I had a fantastic girlfriend that I'm recently been in touch with. That was like, I had two different first loves. That's for different reasons. Yeah, there's that. I wanted to explain. So I finished that. I completed the class, and all those charges were expunged. So that's why there's no record unless you work for the government. Apparently, you cannot see that this ever happened in my past. So I'm able to, and remember, allegedly for a movie. We're talking a movie here. And yeah, so I'm grateful. What were the chances that just that year drug court was introduced to the state of Florida, and I was eligible? Otherwise, prison. That's where I would have been for a couple of years. Wow, I dodged a bullet, huh? More than a few times. So how did recovery even start? Like, that's hard for me to fully understand, but I can just tell you it took a lot of understanding myself and going through a lot of pain, trials, tribulations, losing people, and starting to read the room, so to speak, watching what was happening around me and the toll it was taking on the people that I loved, my friends, my family, what it did to me, and it was a very slow drip style process. I used Suboxone, not methadone, to get off of opiates, which is a whole other monster within itself. and I got on some form of an antidepressant, and I've always had reservations about being on medication because it makes me feel dishonest about saying I've been clean for 12 years. But I think everybody has a very individual path when it comes to that. Let me visit the chat, and then I have a clip perhaps. Thank you, DD Lamb. Hey, it's Bass Girl. You know what? Real quick, because of talking to Bass Girl, I did say I did spoken word poetry. This is probably the cheesiest thing that somebody with a YouTube platform could ever do. But let me see how many of the rhymes and lines I wrote way back in the day I still remember. I wrote it when I was completely clean during that year of sobriety, when I just started writing. Wrote a lot of stories. And all that shit's still there on LiveJournal. Bear with me. I'm kind of bearing my soul here, so, you know, I've shared so much. Why not just go that extra mile? Fuck, I'm actually doing it. Hunger for numbing, I turned to drugs. Turning psychotic, lost in narcotics. Thrown into this daze like I'm lost in a maze. When saying I'll never be phased, now I'm fucking crazed. Snoring that powder, making me shout louder. Nope, I got it wrong. I turned to drugs. Turning psychotic, lost in narcotics. Thrown into this daze like I'm lost in a maze. When saying I'll never be phased, now I'm fucking crazed. My sense of paranoia, heightened. Fuck paranoia. I'm just straight up frightened. Trying to stop the crying. I'm prying. Searching for a solution. Attempting to clear all this inner pollution. Getting high, releasing that smoke with a sigh. Snoring that powder, making me shout louder. And in this part, I don't fully remember. Sorry, I'm just trying to get to the center of what's under your chest. And that's it. I don't remember the rest. I don't remember the rest. That's as much as I can. Wow, it's amazing that this is still together enough to even remember something I wrote when I was 19 years old or something. I still enjoy writing. I still write freestyles here and there. But apparently, Bass Girl told me she does a little writing too. Hey, brother, I would like to know if I could possibly talk to you privately. Yes. Yes, and yes. You got it, Bumble. I haven't seen you in a long time, but all you need to say is that you... Yeah, slam poetry is correct. All you need to do is ask. And use the email if it's sensitive material, please. ProgressivePatriot44@gmail.com. And we can arrange talking. I'm here for all of you. There's no amount that's insurmountable. I hope I've been pretty good about responding to every email, and the next live is going to be back to business, baby. Okay, I'm going to come out swinging, as I said earlier, even though I said swimming. But you can swing underwater, so I could say both. I'm going to come out swimming and swinging. For, I guess, one person haphazardly and another one, well, full on. And we know the target. But I've had some time to think about all these things. So, okay, let's break this for a moment, and let me share something that was shared with me that I haven't yet seen. Let's flip the script on a quick trip. Turn it off, Eli. Shut up. Not this. All right. Hey, remember, youtube.com/stuckinthemiddle. This is a group that's for 3 years. It's been affiliated with that show I did for 3 years and still there. Wow, that was redundant. All right, I'm making sure the volume is all good, guys, and I'm going to share some... once again, fentanyl is still very much a real problem here in Florida. It's amazing. A touch of that thing, and you can just die. So let's see. Let me see if it actually says anything. Overdose deaths topped 100,000 for the first time ever in 2021. Nearly 70%. I missed that. Nearly 70% of them involve fentanyl. The synthetic opioid is 50 times more powerful than heroin. Cannot even fathom that. Come on, full screen. This Colorado woman suffered an overdose and almost didn't survive. Here we go.
I was dead. They said, had they not gotten my heart...
Oh, what the... There we go. Let me fix this. As you can tell, I'm a professional.
Are we done here?
Oh, for the love of Jeez Louise. Okay, can we have a normal moment here? Oh, my... Hallowed be thy name. Don't lose it. Keep your cool. We don't need the full screen, I guess. That's been made clear.
Fentanyl is flooding the state, and it's coming in along the interstates and the highways because the cartels realize that by going through Colorado, they can reach vast parts of the United States.
That highway system also has been explained to me. It's very much effective for trafficking, human trafficking, and drugs. They're all intertwined, and Big Pharma will get their profits.
You've got the I-25 corridor that runs north-south from Mexico. You've got the I-70 corridor that runs east all the way across the country. So there's a lot of different ways once something comes into Colorado where it can move.
The Colorado police are finding fentanyl during daily stops, hidden vehicles. I think I might be able to find a video, I don't know if you guys have seen it, of an officer, a rookie officer, accidentally gets his bare finger on fentanyl and OD's right there. But his life is saved by his instructor, his commander.
Problem's getting worse here.
Yeah, fentanyl keeps coming. It is a poison that is continuously infecting not only Colorado, but every community throughout this country. People that are selling fentanyl, they are profit-driven, and they do not care how many body bags are a result of their drive for profit.
You can't say Big Pharma is any better than any dealer. Adding to the urgency, all right, for Kim Osterman, the fight is personal. Her son Max died from fentanyl poisoning last year.
Deliberately doing this to kill the children. They're marketing it to the children.
Supply chain are trying to choke off, but showing little signs of shutting down. Yeah, so about that, we're talking about, I have a statistic open here. In 2019, an estimated 10.1 million people aged 12 or older misused opioids in the past year. Specifically, 9.7 million people misused prescription pain relievers, and 745,000, I had a Biden moment, people used heroin. Appropriate prescribing of opioids is essential to protecting the health and safety of Medicare beneficiaries. Don't even get me started. Big Pharma, who we were supposed to trust, no, that'll get me a strike, and that's what got me a strike. But Big Pharma and, what was it, Purdue? The people that put out OxyContin, and they were making chewable tablets for kids. They were literally... that last statement that was just shared, that's no bullshit. They wanted to get everybody hooked on this shit, and they still do. I'm not convinced that they've gotten morals. And Purdue, while they got to go bankrupt, they have their money everywhere, in all sorts of equity, in museums and their holdings. Like, nobody was really, while the names and the family, what family was it? I watched this whole brilliant series that was all true and informative, starring Michael Keaton as the doctor of this town that gets destroyed by OxyContin. The Slackler family. Let me do it quick. This is one of the most evil families. Slackler family. Slackler. Let me see. No, not Slacker. Sadler family, but their connections are alarming. Let me see, did I find the right ones? But anyway, while I may have gotten it wrong, or Google could possibly have decided we don't want all this information available, like even one of the women that was on the board that decided to push OxyContin the way they did so furiously, she publicly stated in an interview not that terribly long ago that she didn't feel any bit of remorse and that none of it was her fault. This is the problem with the people in power that always make these just haphazard decisions just to fatten their pockets a bit more, and then what ends up happening, the real people, the real working class citizens, the people that really make this country America, or any country at all, where you're just an average person getting by, playing by the rules, we are the ones that suffer. Our friends, our family, our neighbors. We are the ones that suffer while their pockets are lined. You think these assholes are getting high on their own product? I mean, they could, but they're smarter than that, and they have access to all kinds of treatment to literally become an addict and then get fixed in a fucking day. They got this fascinating methodology in Russia that I understand Jordan Peterson used. He was absolutely hooked on benzodiazepine, Xanax, and over in Russia, you can just get knocked out, put into a coma until you finish withdrawals. It's fucking wild. And now just in the States, they're starting to use psychotropics, psychoactives to help people, especially traumatized people, get off of their addictions. And there's amazing results, and I hope to see more of that. Psilocybin and other things like that, I think, can really do wondrous things. So, what do I pick? What to pick? The shorter the clip, the less. I want the fresh clip itself. I could do without the commentary. Let's just pick this one here.
The Woman King now has an A+ cinema score and is certified.
Moment, please.
With an audience score of
You're about to see body worn. Yep, thank you. Okay.
And if you don't have an N95,
you put it in a plastic bag.
So what?
This is a good example of how quick this stuff works. This is absolutely terrifying to me. And if this was around when I was the monster I wouldn't be here. 100% would not be here.
Let's do this then. Do you want to go
sit with him for a bit?
Sit with him, let him take him to the hospital, and then if we have a coupon, we'll come and give it to him?
Sure.
Or if we're going to sit.
Oh, this is the whole thing. I'm going to jump to the moment. Okay, this is it. That's the rookie. Obviously, he has not handled anything yet. I'm looking. We're getting closer. All right, right about here. I'm gonna let it ride here.
Put your face close to that shit. Yeah. This stuff's no joke, dude. It's super dangerous. Gotta be really careful.
Makes it very clear.
I hate dealing with it.
He's like, yeah, I know. I get anxious knowing what's about to happen here. Oh, there it is. There's the moment.
Paul 6, start me 1141 for my partner. You alright, dude?
Miss Chronicles, that's a rookie right there, and that's the instructor, his commander.
Paul 6, code cover. Hey, dude. Wake up. Hey, buddy.
Remember those for 91 Paul 6, you know?
Yes,
Narcan.
code cover.
Code cover for 91 Paul 6, you tell me.
Paul 6, I need 1141, code 3.
How far? Unit for 435.
Hey, buddy. Just breathe, buddy. Breathe. 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 It's alright.
How far, Paul 7?
Breathe. 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 Okay.
Ain't no
alright.
bulletproof
Buddy.
vest for this shit,
You're okay.
man.
Breathe. Breathe. Breathe.
Look
breathe.
at him.
It's okay. I got you. I got you. Breathe. Breathe.
91 6 from here at 435 North TOB.
It's okay. Breathe. It's okay. Breathe. It's okay. Give me the air.
I was able to see the interview, and this man describes how terrified he was and convinced he was going to die. So when I hear him making these noises, I'm reminded of that interview where he breaks up, like cries, and expresses his gratitude for being saved.
Narcan. I've already administered 2.
So far, administered 2 Narcan.
It's okay. Just keep breathing. Focus, buddy. Focus. Focus.
3, I've got it in route.
Just focus. We're in the back parking lot of the mortuary.
In the back parking lot of the mortuary.
It's okay. I got you. You're gonna be all right.
So far.
There you go.
I'm
Breathe.
about a minute out.
Focus on breathing, buddy.
5 a minute.
You're okay. You're okay. Bye-bye. You okay? Talk to me. Oh, no. Don't be sorry. You're okay. Don't be sorry. There's nothing to be sorry about. I got you, okay? I'm not gonna let you die. I'm not gonna let you die. It's okay. Just focus on your breathing, okay? Focus on it. I need Narcan! It's okay. It's all right. Just breathe. Just breathe. I've already given 2. All right. Five Eye, talk to me, buddy. Talk to me. Focus on your breathing, okay? We got you. We got you. It's okay. I got you, Five Eye. I'm not letting you go, okay? I'm not letting you go. Breathe.
Focus, buddy. Focus. Stay with us. You're doing good, buddy. You're doing good.
Right. It's okay, Five Eye. Talk to me.
Mister, when I got another one on standby. Just hold tight.
You're breathing. You're okay.
Five Eye. Look at me, bud. Look at me.
Focus. Okay.
Look at me in my eyes. You're doing good, okay?
You're breathing.
Help us on the way. You're gonna.
It's okay. Don't be sorry. Just focus on breathing, okay?
You're doing good. Just keep focusing, buddy. You're doing great.
Yeah, give it. I'm holding his head up. So.
Sorry. Yep.
Hey, Dave. Nothing to be sorry about. Okay? You're okay, Dave. It's all right.
I'm gonna jump a little bit.
If your breathing feels better on your side, we can roll it back over, okay?
He's recovering now.
You think it was a dope, or you think you were having heat exhaustion?
Oh man, that shit's intense for me.
You're not ready for it.
Sorry, I didn't even skip the ad. Like, I'm just thinking, because I've seen shit like this, and I have had seizure.
No, it was good. Just got lightheaded in.
111, FD37 attached, engine
I like.
141.
Where's the material?
It's in the trunk. It's in that clear plastic bag right there. Yeah. It tested positive for fentanyl.
His pulse is good, and
I don't have any.
hey man, your pulse feels great, all right?
It's good.
Good, normal rhythm.
Clear ET, Sarge.
3? Yeah.
I did 2.
Yes, Keeks. It instantaneously, okay, just a simple touch, and it could be the briefest touch. It could be a skim, like literally, I accidentally touch it like this. It's already in your pores. I am terrified of this shit, and it's apparently everywhere. It's in people's fucking, snow. It's killing people on such a mass-wide scale, and it's somewhat combated here, but never enough. It's never enough. This is why I rely more on person-to-person community support. This is why I've taken to platforms. I do not trust any of the official agencies or pharmaceutical companies that are given the powers they are through legislation. I've got no trust for these people. They profiteer off of our addictions and our suffering. And fun fact about this kind of shit, we are the only first world country, and if anybody that's not in the States is in the chat, verify this. I know it's a fact. We are the only first world country in the fucking world that allows the pharmaceutical companies to advertise directly to us through our TVs. In, say, the UK or Canada and other first world countries, France, that's the doctor's job to recommend because they care. It's the doctor's job to recommend what is best for you. Instead of, say, filling your mind up with different medications that only you know, commercials that are trying to get you to buy a product. Not to solve your problems and to treat you, but to buy a product. This is the only country where we have it ass backwards, bass ackwards, where you go there, and this is how doc shopping really became a thing and grew and has not stopped growing. So yeah, you go there, you already have this commercial convinced me the most that it could change my life. So let me get this, that, and the other, doc. In other countries where they have it done just a bit differently, the doctor that gives a shit, who's the one that's supposed to have the information, recommends based on the conversation you have what you should be on. There's so many things. There's no end. This is how I know the mission, the channel, this journey, this path, and those of you that are with me on it will never fucking end. There's too many things to fight for. There's too many things that are wrong. And I think we're just so fucking wise to it that we've all had enough. I don't think there's a single one of you here that isn't tired of watching everything go down the way they go down. The status quo. The status quo is built to keep us down, enslaved in some shape or form. Be content with your fucking reality TV. Take these drugs. You know, if you have a problem, don't you dare think about how to deal with it directly. No, get on some shit that you'll get hooked on, and then you'll feel trapped in your own body. You'll feel like your world, even though you're not literally behind bars, you'll feel like you're in a prison, which is how I've felt being on medication. Like I'm stuck. And whatever side effects you have to deal with, they're there. They're just a reality you have to accept. Fuck that. Then fuck all this shit, man. The accountability by the most powerful people, agencies, and families. Yeah, this is the Slackler family and the Waltons. Can I say the Clintons? I'm not a fan. And just, this could go on and on, right? The Rockefellers and all of our favorite fucking go-to names. They have so much blood on their hands, but they don't give a shit. They get green in their pockets, and they live a life disassociated and disconnected from us real people that go through real life. Not private jets, not whatever rich people problems are. And I know you being rich doesn't solve all your problems, but by God, it makes them a lot easier to get through when you can distract yourself with literally anything at your fingertips. And it seems a lot of these people that get so rich, they just go to these even darker places, darker than my mind when I was a full-on fucking addict, you know, fucking harming myself and thinking about harming other people. You know, like I said before, Epstein is not the first of his kind, nor is that the only island of its kind. There's so much more out there, and there will never be an end to this fight. And that breaks my heart, but at least I feel like there's a reason to do this because it's there, and we acknowledge that. I really do these rants quite a bit, don't I? Let me check everything. Okay, all right. So officially, I'm gonna say, let me look at the chat because I hope I maybe completed close to an hour, and I apologize again for having to edit the live last night. I still dedicate my survival and this journey to my grandma Sarah, who helped raise me. She was a second mother, still is like a second mother to me. Let me see, Ash B. Forging Thought is also a good dude right there, man. He's going to be one of the first people on that panel. If you guys let me know, so feel free to say so in the chat or the comments or in the community posts when you guys are interested or how interested you'd be in the panel channel, or if you are interested in joining when I do my restream. Excuse me, or I use StreamYards because Josh taught me how to use StreamYards, and he also has combated a lot of the things I have spoken about, and he's got some stories too. So yeah, I'm very excited about hosting my first panel channel show. I just don't want this to turn into that. And I very much want your feedback, guys. You know, what suggestions do you have aside from a green screen and a better mic? Should I be showing more clips? Is it just too much watching one person sit and talk? I mean, don't worry, I'm not insecure, but I'm only asking for legitimate feedback. Let me look at the comments, and then I got my sign-off. Queen Survivor, you redeemed yourself before even having to quit. Thank you, Queen Survivor. You've been one of the sweetest people. I mean, all of you have been just more than amazing. You've given me new life. When I did that live on my break today, I caught myself feeling the most genuine smile that I have felt on my face for I don't know how many years. I've not been a miserable man, but this happiness, do I dare call it pride? Like I feel because I've gotten so much positivity and love and people that care about the same things, and knowing that like my father is proud, it has made me a better me than I could have ever hoped for. And things were going relatively well even before this. I have a great full-time job, but of course I have a vision, and you all are a part of this vision. There goes my pup in the background. So, okay, Ashby, I'll have to rewatch. Randy Cassidy, I notice you. Thank you for your support. I see you and all of you that comment, and I hope you see I'm trying to literally respond to every single comment using the YouTube fucking app or whatever it is. It's pretty wild. Trying to keep up with the emails, the information, and answering people back, and then the comments. I am not complaining. This is an amazing, beautiful problem to have. Problem is not the right word, but you know what I mean. So with that, my friends, thank you for attending another episode of the Progressive Patriot Hour. I know this one got deep, but, when I said I'm going to be transparent, I ain't joking around here, okay? I mean, can you see through me yet? Am I that transparent? Oh, and please, Forging Thought does have a channel. Forging, drop your channel, son. Don't be modest over here. Anybody that's modded, you please, feel free. We are a support network. We're going to achieve great things together. So get it done, fam. Get it done. Plug them while I'm doing my little moniker. Please celebrate that which unifies us. That should be the strongest aspect of anything regarding this mission or path or journey. And whatever ends up being a divider, always let that be an invitation to conversation and discourse to understand one another better. Because nothing that divides us can take away from our united cause. And that's how the people above, whatever you want to call them, in power or pretend they're in power, or we pretend they're in power, laugh all the way to the bank because we're so busy dividing and being faction and fractioned, going back to tribalism and saying, you don't think like me, I hate you. I can't break bread with you. Fuck you, you're my neighbor. You don't think like me. You're not in my circle. I will never, ever co-sign to that kind of mentality. It is absolutely the antithesis to my goal here. Did I use that word right? Sometimes I throw $2 words out there hoping it'll land, not knowing if I used it correctly at all. So, okay, my rant is fully done. This has been one of the longest rants I've done without much footage. And I thank you all for joining me, as always. Nothing but love. Progressive Patriot out. And let me know when you'd like to see that channel show.